Hello, and welcome back to my channel. This is Reality with D. How you doing? Now, let me just say this. I'm gonna come out the gate swinging because y'all riding on my girl, Miss Twirl, Kenya Moore herself. Now, I have never been the type that didn't call Kenya out when she was on that bullshit. And I'm about to call out by being on some bullshit somewhere up in this video, I assure you. But, boy, y'all just love to hate Miss Twirl. Miss Twirl. Now, here's the deal. And I'm just, like I said, I'm coming out the gate swinging. I saw Kenya. She did 2 videos, right? She did Live Twirls on episode 3 about Tyler Perry, skincare, and, lies or whatever. But what I really want to talk about starting at the gate is the one that she did where she critiqued the fashion store and the fashions. Like, okay, so she admitted that she had some missteps with the fashions too when she was on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, if you go back over Kenya's fashion history, out of 12, 13 years she was on the show, she didn't have that many. Okay, well, you have Shamia, who had fashion miss after fashion miss after fashion miss after fashion miss after fashion miss, right? Who, to me, but apparently I'm the only one who think that the national rainforest, the Amazon rainforest, didn't throw up on her, and then she didn't look like a bullfrog's back or an anaconda's back in that dress. I hated that dress, and I'll continue to say I hate. When I see that dress that Shamia had on, my flesh literally crawls because I have that phobia where I can't see a whole lot of things that's clumped up together, or I start feeling, well, my anxiety will rise a little bit, but I don't want to just put it on my anxiety. I just feel icky, a feeling of ew, I can't stand to look at clumped up mosh posh hosh posh type of stuff. That's just me, okay? Now, this is not a part of my personality. That's just a part of me. And that's what it looked like to me. It just looked like the Amazon rainforest just threw up on her. And back of a bullfrog's back of a snake's back, I can't look at none of that stuff because it's all little clusters of spots and dots mixed up together. I hated that dress. But Kenya loved it. So she gave her opinion on Shamia's dress. I even hated Portia's dress. Everybody in the world loved Portia's dress. She looked like C-3PO to me. If you don't know who C-3PO is, go around there and look at Star Wars. She giving robot realness, right? So, but what we all agreed on, so I thought, is that Phaedra looked like the Queen of the Damned. I've seen the Queen of the Damned. I've seen a broke ass Cupid. I've seen Mount Olympus, Athena. I've seen Xena Princess Warrior. I have seen what was another one? Diana Prince, aka Wonder Woman. I have seen it all. But the only person that y'all had to come to defense for, that she spoke on, was Phaedra. Now, we have found out that Phaedra could have possibly set up Angela. She looked like a golden goose in that dress. I mostly said Queen of the damn Acacia. Whatever you want to call it, just a hodgepodge of mess, right? She looked like she was about to take wings with those shoes and just fly off and shoot you with an arrow, right? But here we are. I can't believe we are at this place where when Kenya said she looked a hot mess, we are at the place where the whole internet, instead of agreeing with Kenya and letting Kenya have her opinion, are hating on Kenya because she said that she hated that dress. Wow. Now, where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? So many criticisms about this dress, right? But Kenya can't say anything. I've seen, there you go, hating outside the club. You're unemployed. You don't have a job. Worry about your closed up ass spa. But why? Why can't she have an opinion? It's okay for the people. We all hating outside the club, ain't we? Everybody, which is millions and millions of people who hated on, I can't even say Phaedra's dress, that costume thing she had on. Millions and millions and millions on top of millions of people hate that outfit. But one person, Kenya Moore, can't give her an opinion. Her opinion. I thought we as people, as audience and fans and stuff, had matured out of this. But people were saying that the RHOA fans are getting about as toxic as LAMH. I am freaking beginning to see it. I didn't see it last season because everybody was hating on Drew. But now I'm seeing it this season through a different lens, because now the Portia fans are hating on Drew and twisting and contorting themselves in ways when they know Portia is wrong for hating on Drew for just simply working with Dennis. It is a very, very weird phenomenon when people like Portia, how they do, because they know that Portia, you know, as a fan of the show and as a fan of some of the people, Miss Kenya, like I said, I can call her out when she's wrong. As a fan of the show and a fan of the people, I can't understand why a true fan of Kenya's, a true fan of Portia's can't see that it's all stupid, literally stupid, the way she has put her energy into talking about Drew. Now, as I was saying before, I was so rudely interrupted. I guess I was trying to be in denial about this phenomenon about the Real Housewives of Atlanta fans and how they. Now, Portia gets dragged, but she gets dragged in a different way than Kenya, because the way it's appearing to me as I'm looking at it, it's really seeming like Kenya is being dragged for just being Kenya. Damn. I mean, let Kenya live. Now, Kenya has fans. Whoa. Because us girls from the 90s, we know the impact that she's had on America. But, I mean, hey, them people over there, them little young, airheaded, shallow, in the pool fans that only see beauty in butt and somebody who's goofy and charming and don't see the forest for the trees, that don't want to admire intelligence. Those loopy, because you have to be a certain, admit it now, you have to be a certain amount of loopy and a little shallow, like a little shallow puddle yourself, in order to admire anything that Portia does. I don't get it. Honestly, I do not get the appeal. Yeah, she has some funny little zingers here and there, like those titties are Sasha Destiny. But she lies. I mean, she lies a lot. Sort of like, her freaking fat, frock or whatever it is. Her frock or whatever. And they both lied. I mean, that's not appealing. She's an airhead. That's definitely not appealing. But I definitely know that smart people are not going to get along well with her, because when she and Kenya were cool, what did they have to talk about? So she had to come out of the gate that season that they got cool when Eva was on there, basically dissing Kenya. When Kenya was like of the mindset, just like with Dumb Britt, of the mindset that they should move on and be cool because they had just had babies around the same time. Weird. And like I said, you have to be kind of on the airheadish side yourself if you like Portia, because I mean, she has no substance. I don't get it. I mean, she's clearly Dixel Dollar's daughter. If she do anything for a dime, not just be content and being on that show, I mean, she's looking to be a pamper Portia. Laid up on that gremlin for $1. Anyway, child, I ain't even lying about this. Now, here's where we're going to talk about Miss Kenya more. Because I got some things to say, right? See, I told you I'm about to criticize Kenya. It's coming. So, she did the live tour on, and here comes Mark. Mark was trying his best to bend his head down to get in the shot. I mean, we know his voice, we know his body shape. And so the camera kept cutting his head off. And you know, at the end of the video, Kenya was talking about co-parenting and all of this, that, and the third and the fourth. But, you know, a lot of times in co-parenting, in order to, you know, kind of get men to the point where you can be cordial, I mean, you have to give up a lot. And I definitely understand that because I've been there, so I can speak to that clearly. Once we as women, I don't know why it has to be us, I guess because most of the time we're the custodial parent. Once we get there, it can be a situation where it looks like we're getting along so well that we're back together. I don't think Kenya and Mark are back together just because he was trying to get in the shot. He's a thirsty son of a bitch. Okay? In my opinion. So, now remember, everything is alleged and in my opinion. So, none of it's real. Okay? And the Copyright Act of 1976 allows me to use their commentary for commentative purposes and criticism. Now, as you can see, just that little snippet right there, that's Mark, the part where Mark was talking, because that's why I just skipped ahead in the video and started talking about Mark and co-parenting. And a lot of times you have to, again, do a lot in order to get the paternal counterpart to, you know, even be cordial. Now, I just think they're cordial. I do. I was trying to just, at that point where I was just like, when me and my children's father had gotten to that point where we were seeing eye to eye and agreeing on a lot of things, and bless me and believe me when I tell you that it was all me. I had to do a lot of talking. I had to do a lot of calling. I had to do a lot of writing. I wrote things and text messages in order to get him to understand that, you know, we were going to have to get on the same page on a lot of things, about schooling, about money, finances, especially if we weren't going to be together. And then when he finally saw that I meant no harm to him other than trying to raise these kids together, it was then that he's like, a light went off and he wanted to marry me. And I think the same thing is going on here with Kenya. He's saying that Kenya is an awesome mother. And he's saying what a fool he was. To take her down through there like that in his marriage. Awesome mother, beautiful, talented, all these things. Smart. He's like, wait a minute. You mean tell me I had all these damn things on a wife and I was still acting a fool? Let me straighten up and see what I can do. And see, can I spin the block? Sort of like Nelly. But I'm about to talk about him in a minute, baby. I'm about to get there. Okay? So, some things that I disagree with Kenya about was the just the Tyler Perry thing. I think she may be one of those people that admires Tyler Perry because Tyler Perry has given her wisdom and how to direct and how to produce. You know, maybe she learned some things from him. I'm not saying nobody didn't learn anything from him, but I'm not saying that what she didn't talk about was how, you know, two things can be true at once. Yes, he can be intelligent. It was something that got him into billionaire status. Yes, all those things may be true. But it also may be true that he might be someone who intimidates people with his statuses. And being that he intimidates people with his status and his position, that becomes a quid pro quo situation. But I tell you what, Kenya stayed up off that. She was just talking about how, you know, more black people should support this black man and his vision and stuff like that. I'm not saying I don't support Tyler Perry, but I'm damn sure gonna talk about that repetitive dialogue and that continuity, and I'm not the only one. I mean, if somebody see it, we're gonna talk about it, especially as bloggers. That continuity, baby, that continuity is a mother sucker. Irritating. When I know that one thing started out this way and then you end things this way, when I was like, wait a minute. Wasn't so-and-so his daddy at one point? And then he come back on as his uncle. Child. And as if the fans don't remember. And, you know, the main thing we could talk about, and what I always go back to, is their 21-year pregnancy with Karen. And I talked about that way back. Me and my mom used to be like, way back when Love Thy Neighbor was on. And we was like, damn, is Linda gonna ever have that damn baby? Oh, Linda pregnant. Linda still pregnant. Linda stayed pregnant. And I think that show was on 6 years. Linda stayed pregnant that whole damn entire run of the show until the last season. And that's because not only is the continuity messed up, his timelines are messed up. The days don't change. Okay? It comes back on and a whole year can go by on one of his shows and it's still in the same day. That is freaking annoying, Kenya. And I know you see it. I know you seen it. But you like that movie Straw. You like that one movie. But are you watching his television series? Because if you watch those, then baby, I tell you, I don't know how. I don't even. It's damn. To me, it takes a partial demented ass genius to be able to figure out how to put a show that's continuing on and the years are going by and the characters are aging, and leave it in a 1 day, 2 day time span. Because I know Karen has aged. The characters have aged. Then when we looked back at If Loving You Is Wrong, I can give you a good example on If Loving You Is Wrong, keeping it in the same day. We came back and the children that had been on the show were started out small. And then the weird thing about it is he kept the same children. At least on the soap opera, they do age progression and they change the actors out. Baby, I know on If Loving You Is Wrong, I cannot think of the darker skinned character name for nothing. The one who went to jail for supposedly taking out the neighbor. If I could think of her name. The only person name that I remember is Nicole's name. I just remember the scenarios, and of course I remember the show. And yeah. So my point is that character's son, he started out like probably about, I would say maybe 10, or I'll even give it single digit, 8, 9. By the time that show ended, we were in the same time period, and that boy was a teenager. Weird. Okay. I was like, I told my best friend, the one who passed away, I was like, girl, did you see that? That's what I don't like about this shit. That boy was starting out on this show. He was 8, 9 years old. He's supposed to be the same age, 8, 9 years old. You can clearly say the voice done changed, the goddamn mustaches and beards and shit like that. And this is the same kid. But this is the same time period on the show. The time period hadn't changed. I mean, he would go, especially if Loving You Is Wrong. I think maybe Loving You Is Wrong will come back probably like every 6, 7 months. So it's becoming one of those things that, like, to me, is like, you're going to get admonished if you talk about Tyler. Don't you say nothing bad about Tyler. Tyler is a good man, Savannah. No, Tyler is a human man who has flaws and has plenty of damn flaws in his shows and movies. Moving right along. So now we get to some history, right? So she talks about her being a pageant queen and living in that pageant world and not having makeup to satisfy her skin tone, and a lot of black women not having makeup to satisfy their skin tone. And I'm familiar because a lot of times with Kenya, especially with Kenya, because nowadays people, first of all, you have to account for lighting too. So a lot of people think that Kenya was darker than she is now. I think it was the makeup. I think Kenya has always been the same complexion. Because, I mean, you can see her on various shows and she'll look the same, but then, you know, she may appear dark or she may appear lighter, and that's going to happen especially with the ones who have more melanin. Okay? So, moving along from that. Oh, yeah, and then that, I'm glad she brought that to the forefront because I didn't know about it, about the about the Caucasian ladies saying that they invented the lip liner method. Okay. Now, if I could recall correctly, with the lip liner method, we would get dragged on television about having a darker lip, you know, to kind of accentuate the lips. Having to use a darker lip liner, and I am a victim. Yes, ma'am, I am indeed a victim with the lighter and the actual, not lip liner, but actual eyeliner pencil to just outline the lips, because, you know, they didn't have our shade when it came to lip liner. Baby, when I tell you, you go in the store back then, especially in the 90s, and I'm giving it to you real and raw like I do. If you went into the store in the 90s and you bought a lip liner, it was going to be nude. And if it was nude, even though I am a caramel complexion, baby, when I would put that, but my lips are dark. You know what I'm saying? So, baby, when I put that lip liner on my lips, it would either look like an ashy white or it would blend into my lips and you couldn't see it. So, of course, we would have to go to the dreaded black lip liner. Trust me, we have all been a victim. And now they're saying that it's cute and they invented it. And this is what I mean when black people say cultural vulture, and then Caucasian people get mad and say they can wear their hair and wear their clothes and listen to whatever music they want to. It's not that. That's the problem. The problem is when we allow them into our spaces, and I know most of them don't mean any harm, like Eminem. When we allow them into our spaces, it becomes a thing where it looks like you invented it. Whereas we were criticized for hip hop, here he comes along, and Macklemore and all them, and they're winning Grammys before black people in the same categories. And as if they invented it. And now, right now, we're struggling to get people to understand that we invented country music. Child, I cannot make this stuff up. So if you can admit it and give us credit for it, that's a different story. Like finally, it was this older gentleman. I always tell this story in Tupelo, Mississippi, where actually Elvis is from. He's not from Memphis. He's from Tupelo. He's from the city. And trust me, if you go to Tupelo, you will know. You cannot go anywhere without. That's why I hate Tupelo. I cannot enjoy Tupelo, Mississippi, even though it's one of the third largest city in Mississippi. Baby, I can't go to Tupelo and enjoy it because everywhere I go is something about freaking Elvis. But the point is, he stole music from black people. And finally, they have finally admitted it on, that was on our WTVA news. I think that's WTVA news that's what happened. It was years, do you hear me? 60, 70 years before we ever heard, which black people had been singing it all on the news, all in interviews. Little Richard, Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, everybody who had stolen from was telling the story, but no one was listening. So finally, it took a white person to admit that that's what happened. So that's our issue with it. Give us the credit, and then you start like with Kylie Jenner, and was that her name? The one that looked so much like her daddy at first, and then she plumped the lips and plumped the boobs, and now she look like she's 72 years old. I don't even know how old Kylie is. I think her name is Kylie. I don't even know how old she is anymore. Is she in her 20s finally? Because baby, when she was 18, 19 with those little spread across her face, I could not tell how old the child was, so I don't remember. I think she was like 18, 19. She was looking like she was 32. So now she got to be maybe in her late 20s, looking like she's in her late 50s. I don't know how old the child is. The point is that she didn't invent plump lips here. We were born with them, okay? That's our point. Things we were criticized for and stuff like that. Now they getting praised for it and making a whole lot of money off our looks, our fire talent, etc., etc., etc. Now, let me get into Ashanti and Mr. Nelly real quick. Oh, damn it. I watched the first, I want to say three and a half episodes. I started on episode 4. The show is entertaining. Don't get me wrong. It's just that, damn. I'm saying, just like when I was talking about just a lot of little things that I pulled out. Do they make a cute couple? Yes, aesthetically. But it just seems to me that they love each other. But it just seems like mentally they are in a different place. And I'm just saying, look, here's how I see it with Nelly and Ashanti. Again, let me say it. Cute couple. I think they love each other. That's where it stops. Nelly is jealous of the baby. He disguises it as a joke, but it's not. He is very stubborn, and he's a Scorpio. I think he's a Scorpio. He's Scorpio. So that explains a lot. I can speak on it. Scorpio over here. So they butt heads a lot. So I'm not sure where her sign is. I should have looked up what her sign was as well, to see why. Let me pause this and see what her sign is, and I'll probably tell you why they're butting heads. Okay, so she's Libra. Let me see. Do Scorpios and Libras get along for the most part? Yes, but I'll tell you one thing about a Scorpio. Scorpio don't even get along with other Scorpios. We're just one of those signs that people just freaking call me. I saw a little AI thing that says what's the meaning sign, and I thought it was gonna be Aries because I can't stand Aries, but I realized that I may be able to not be able to stand Aries because they are nicer to us than we are to them. Same thing with Taurus people. So there may be a situation where she is actually nice because they like things nice and balanced, and that's a stereotype because of the scales, but it is true. They don't like for the scales to be imbalanced. That's what it is. And he's just throwing her off. Every time she has one thing figured out and has a solution for it, he comes in and just with those teeth and just chops it down. Now, when she was talking to her friends, especially Simone was telling her what it's like to be with a famous man, and because even though Ashanti is a superstar, and been down that road before, and just the biggest star as he is, Simone can't speak on it. Simone can speak on being at home and raising the tired kids or whatever. But Ashanti would never be able to speak on that because like I said, she's the biggest star as he is. And so there go that Scorpio is like, that stinger is coming out a little bit, the jealousy. When I tell you one thing about a McNasty, I talk about the McNasties and Scorpio, and I tell the truth about them. You can't hide jealousy. That's why I tell people you can be jealous. It's just how you act in your jealousy. Because I know as a Scorpio, that man nasty is there. Jealousy is one of our main McNasties. And him being jealous of that baby, that is not a joke. That is very, very, very real. He's disguising it as a joke, but it's real. Ashanti, don't play with him about that. And you letting him know, you telling him over and over again that you can give him the attention that he wants, and you trying to be there for the baby and pump and do all the other things, and you gonna wear yourself thin because you're not gonna be able to satisfy him in the area. You're not gonna be able to stop him from being jealous of that baby, and that's just what it is. And it's bad enough that general men are like that, but it's 10 on 10 on 10. 10 on 10 on 10 when it's a Scorpio man. Okay? You got a lot to work with though. And you may have to have a little counseling behind it because he is very, very serious. Now, he wanted that baby. But like he said in those interviews, he wanted that baby, and he wanted that baby to, one, so you can have your child that you always wanted, and two, so y'all could enjoy each other without the baby and just have the nanny do everything. Because he said he wasn't changing no diapers. Right? I'm rich. I can afford a nanny. And I ain't mad at him for saying things like that, but how will you bond with your baby if you don't secure a spot in the child's life other than, you being on the road, her being on the road, and, you not give the baby anything. A little small thing that I noticed, Ashanti is so germaphobe with the baby. She came right in from that trip on Christmas, and it looked like it wasn't any cuts in there. And she just grabbed that baby up. I just still put on 1 ounce of sanitizer. I was like, not the germaphobe. But that's just a side note. But back to the relationship. What I'm saying, okay? What I'm saying with Nelly and Ashanti. I said jealous of the baby. Another thing, he don't know how to compromise. That's fucked up. It is. Because her point, even though I agree with him, because she had no business taking him to that luxury ass mattress store. I agree with him there. His points I agree with about the cost of living in St. Louis. You can't beat that because cost of living in St. Louis, a lot of people think St. Louis it's just a city. St. Louis is technically Missouri. That part of Missouri is technically a southern state. That's why they heard Darkware, and it's a whole bag of mixture of Midwest in there. St. Louis ain't in the Midwest. Not technically. Sort of, kind of, but not really. So, there's that. So, Mason-Dixon line is very, very skewed when it comes to, St. Louis and Missouri, due to the simple fact that, they didn't really want to have slavery in St. Louis, Missouri. And that was also a part of the Civil War. But I'm a history buff, so I can give it to you real raw, but I'm not going to get down into it. The reason why I'm mentioning that is because usually southern states have lower cost of living, with the exception of Florida. My God. Florida. They different. Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, all of us, we good. Texas, even Texas, a little bit. At least the east side of Texas going toward Nolens. Okay, we're good. So I see his points there, but her point about him having better schooling, better teachers, more growth. I do have to give it to her there, because even though my kids are very smart, hell, I'm kind of smart myself. And, the little baby may turn out to be smart as well. It's just a certain amount of exposure that if you're just looking out for the baby, that you can get on the East Coast. So he's not willing to compromise there. He's just like, in his confessional, he flat out said, it ain't gonna work. I'm not living in New York. So there's another thing. And I think she's gonna acquiesce, because it's gonna be my husband says. And because she wants to be married to him so badly. She loves him so much. And I think it's going to be a lot, because she keeps saying, I just want him to know. I want him to know that the baby is not first. They're tit for tat, but my baby comes first. But she really wants to have my baby do come first. Because he's depending on me. He needs me. Your ass is grown. 50 years old. You don't need me like that. So we have a couple who is equally successful. A Libra and a Scorpio. Baby, when I tell you this might be a recipe for disaster. By looking at this show, I hope it's not. Because I love Ashanti and I love Nelly separately, but it's a lot of things about Nelly I don't like. And I always have been. I don't necessarily say that I disagree with what happened to him. I think there was a lot of money involved, and I really think that some things went down on that bus that night. I'm just saying. I don't think that lady was all the way lying, but like I said, I'm always going to err on the side of the victim until I know otherwise. But to wrap Nelly and Ashanti up, let me give you a nice little package here. It's going to be some push and pulls. They got a lot of work to do. They've been apart for a long time. They got together quickly. They married quickly. It wasn't a buffer zone in there where they could get to know each other. They were at the point where we're going to go by what we knew of each other in the past. We're going to make that stick. We know each other, so we're going to just go on ahead and get married. No. It was some periods in there in between where we got to get to know each other all over again. Should have been some courting involved. They didn't court each other. They saw each other on the stage in 2021. Maybe I give it 6 months. Phone calls, messages, this, that, and the third, all that happened. But did they date? Did they, like I said, did they get reacquainted? Did they know each other's McNasties, if you will? The irks and the quirks and the things that get on each other's nerves? No, because they're learning that in the marriage. At least that's what it appears to be on the show. to me. So I'm not their psychologist. Let me put the disclaimer out there. But I am a psychology major, former social worker. So I know a lot of things about the things of the things of the things in a human behavior. To wrap it up, nice little bow. It seems like if she's gonna be putting in more work in this relationship to get it to work than he is. And that's how it usually is. But is it fair? Hell to the damn no when he is 50 years old. and a quote unquote gambling alcoholic. Ooh, girl, you got it. You all I know is he better not be dipping off in that joint account. Pulling out, cause you know, I saw you say that he'll go down there and spend $250 and then dig off in the savings. Safe. Ashanti. Girl. No. Be careful with that one. I'm just saying. And with that, I'm going to close. Let me know what you think. Let me know, do you think it's fair that people are dragging Kenya for just simply giving her opinions on the dresses? Real Housewives of Atlanta, does she have the right to do so because she was on the show? Now she's no longer on the show. Are you trying to say that she's jealous? And let me know, what do you think? Do you think Nelly, did you just want them together and you're not gonna give like honest criticism? Do you think Nelly and Ashanti are gonna make it? Hell, I hope they do. And do you think that, give me your opinions about Tyler Perry. Do you think Kenya was right about Tyler Perry, or do you think that, Tyler Perry deserves the same amount of criticism as anybody else that does movies and TV and videos and whatnot and so forth and so on? Come on in, like, comment, subscribe. Remember, I am giving my opinion only, fair use commentary, so on and so forth. Again, like, comment, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification button. You will be notified when I upload a video. Share the video. Why? Because sharing is indeed caring. And as I do when I close, I'm going to chunk them up. Deuces.